This video is designed for the investor that is interested in cannabis and specifically in cannabis beverages. Obviously, if you're going to look for companies that you could potentially invest your capital into, you need to understand the dynamics of that space. So we are going to look at cannabis at a macro level. We're going to look at the projected growth and why it's growing. Then we're going to transition to beverages, and we're going to look at why beverages are being considered as a major player to come in cannabis, maybe the future of cannabis, why big beverage companies like Budweiser and even Coca-Cola are investing or looking to invest their funds into cannabis beverages. And then we're going to get micro, and you're going to get some real insight from a business owner in the space. I've owned Good Stuff Tonics, cannabis-infused beverages, since 2016. We're in the largest market in the world, California. So you're going to get some real insight into the things that are changing that market and creating tremendous opportunities for the brands and potentially the investors that fund those brands in this space. So if you've been living under a rock, then you don't know that lots of people are making money off legal weed. And it's not just these guys, and it's not just celebrities like Martha Stewart. It's also investors and the corporate types, as cannabis is no longer the world of stoners, but it's the world of big business. The market for cannabis worldwide is growing. Hockey stick growth year over year. And that growth is being driven by a few factors. One of them is the legalization of states. ArcView, which is the dominant investment vehicle in the U.S., is predicting by 2024, 40% of America will be recreational legal, which means you'll be able to walk in with a driver's license, show you're 21, and purchase cannabis without a medical card in 40% of the states in the country. 5x growth in the next few years. So the market is big and growing. Another major factor to the growth is more and more people and segments are using cannabis. Kids are smoking with their parents. Even grandma is getting high. The question that people are starting to ask is, as new consumers, as the kind of curious, which we'll talk about, come into the market, what products will they want? Is everybody going to want to burn joints? Vape has obviously had recent challenges and a lot of bad media. And I can't imagine that when it comes to socializing cannabis and it really goes mainstream, that people are going to stand around and share a brownie. And that's why the future of cannabis is in beverages. We drink beer, we drink wine, we drink spirits. More and more people will drink cannabis beverages in mass. Cannabis beverages have a unique opportunity to replace alcohol. In states that cannabis goes federally legal, alcohol drops 15% essentially overnight. So the idea of cannabis beverages becoming a really impactful segment in the market isn't just my idea. Alcohol companies, beer companies are investing in cannabis beverages. They're saying yes to cannabis beverages with their dollars. Budweiser might be the king of Bud soon. They've invested $100 million into a joint venture with cannabis company Tilray. Constellation, or Corona's distributor, has invested $4 billion into cannabis company Canopy to make cannabis drinks. Even the soda companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola are either investing or rumored to be looking at cannabis beverages. Everybody's trying to get a piece. And they're trying to get a piece because, again, cannabis beverages are seen as a big growing segment. And especially in the beer world, they're seeing that more and more younger people are pivoting away from beer and into buds. There's a very large segment of the market to come. It's called the Canna-Curious. 1 out of every 3 people in the United States, according to studies, is curious about trying marijuana. That's over 100 million Canna-Curious coming into the market. Now again, what products are they going to choose? There's a strong argument to be made that they're going to be interested in cannabis beverages. Now, you might ask, well, I haven't heard that much about cannabis beverages, or maybe you haven't heard much about cannabis. Why haven't they been more prominent? Why haven't maybe I ever tried one or seen anybody drinking one? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, the technology hadn't always been there to fully emulsify cannabis into a water-based beverage. And number two, cannabis drinks have traditionally cost more to create, and therefore they've been more expensive than some other products. But all that has changed in the last year or so. Nanotechnology has evolved in the cannabis space, so products are more homogeneous, they're more consistent, creating better products. And the price point for cannabis drinks is just about to fall, so that a 100 milligram cannabis drink is the same price as a 100 milligram of gummy bears or chocolates or other products. Now I'm going to take you into the micro. We're going to talk about cannabis beverages in California, the largest market in the state, really the largest market in the world for cannabis, and really a microcosm of what happens across the country and across the world. We talked about how cannabis beverages were more expensive in the past than other products and how that's changing. And a lot of that is due to equipment that is coming into the market and a few players that are changing the economic dynamic. So this is a representation, this is an example of the equipment that was producing cannabis beverages in the past up until 2019. And this is an example of the beverage lines that are coming into the space. And this type of automation is changing the dynamics, changing the economics of creating cannabis beverages. And so there's a few players that are bringing this product or bringing this equipment into the market that is changing the economics of cannabis beverages and is creating an opportunity for production costs for those that have access to this equipment, are creating the right relationships, dropping production costs by 80% or $2 per unit. So there's a real opportunity in cannabis beverages. There's dynamics that are changing, and it's going to create an opportunity for the right brands and the right investors capitalizing those brands to make a lot of money. So what have we learned in this brief presentation? Well, number one, cannabis beverages are being invested in by big beverage and are projected to have a really strong future. And number two, that automation is changing the game and specifically creating opportunities for brands and investors in the world's largest market, California. So you might ask, okay, well, where do we go from here? Where do you go from here? Well, what if I told you about an investment? There's an opportunity with a company that is an established top 10 revenue brand, so not a pre-revenue, an established brand in the market here in the largest cannabis market in the world, California, that has created the right relationships, has access to said equipment, and is in position to reduce production costs by 80% by Q2 of next year, which is going to allow for a reduction in price and an expecting multiply of sales. Is developing products for the coming Kinda Curious market, and is being distributed by a distributor so strong they've been sold for $800 million, the top distributor in the state, and is led by management that has been in the space since 2016. Enter Good Stuff Tonics. This is my brand that I am the founder and CEO of. We are looking for $1 million in an equity play, and we are offering up to 49% equity of the company. So if you want to learn more about the Good Stuff Tonics as an investment opportunity, or you want to talk about the beverage space, please reach out to me. You can send me an email. Send an email to dgrim@goodstufftonics.com. That's dgrim@goodstufftonics.com. Send me an email today. You're also welcome to send me a text to 619-723-8428. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.